There are people walking this earth right now who seem unstoppable. They rise above distractions. They create breakthroughs. They succeed where others quit. And it's not because they were born different. It's not because life handed them a lucky ticket. It's because at some point they made a decision. Most people never make the decision to pursue mastery, the decision to stop playing small, to stop dabbling, to stop living at the surface. They chose to go deep, to commit, to do whatever it takes. And through that choice, they unlocked a level of power, control, and achievement that feels impossible to anyone who's still waiting for things to get easier. The truth is, you can achieve anything you want in this life. Anything, but not through wishful thinking, not through hope, and not through shortcuts. You achieve it by walking one of only 3 paths. 3 paths that every master has walked. 3 paths that separate the ordinary from the exceptional. Most people try everything except these. They try hacks. They try motivation. They try temporary discipline. But the moment pressure shows up, they snap because they never chose mastery. They only chase moments of momentum. But mastery is different. Mastery is long-term. Mastery is real. And it doesn't care about your talent, your background, or your excuses. It only answers to one thing, your willingness to walk the path. One of the 3 paths. And whichever one you choose, it will test you. It will stretch you. But if you stay on it, it will unlock levels yourself you never knew existed. Levels of strength, focus, clarity, resilience, power. The kind of power that doesn't come from external validation, but from internal evolution. Most people never experience that kind of transformation. Not because they can't, but because they're afraid to let go of who they've always been. They want to change their results without changing their patterns. They want success without structure. They want impact without identity. And life doesn't work that way. Mastery doesn't work that way. If you want to achieve anything, not just wish for it, not just dream about it, but achieve it, then it's time to choose a path and walk it fully, because those 3 paths are not magic. They're not hidden. They've been walked by every great artist, every elite athlete, every world-class entrepreneur, every unstoppable leader. The only difference is they committed when most people hesitated. And that's the first moment of mastery, the moment you decide, the moment you stop living in maybe, the moment you burn the bridge back to average, because average can't live on these paths. It gets exposed, it gets broken. But if you can let go of average, if you can let go of comfort, if you can let go of the excuses you've used your whole life, then these paths will carry you into mastery faster than you ever imagined. But you have to stay, you have to trust the process even when it's slow. You have to train your nervous system to stay focused when everyone around you is distracted, because that's what these paths demand. Total alignment, mental discipline, a level of self-respect most people have never developed. And when you walk that way, the world starts moving differently. Opportunities open, clarity increases, chaos shrinks. You don't feel overwhelmed anymore. Because you know who you are, you know what you're building, you know why you're here. That's what mastery gives you, not just success, but peace. Not just outcomes, but identity. Not just money, but meaning. Because the longer you walk the path, the more you realize you're not chasing goals. You're building the kind of person who can handle anything. And that is the real achievement. Because life doesn't respond to your wants, it responds to your standards. And when you raise those standards through mastery, when you stop negotiating with weakness, when you hold yourself to a higher level, life has no choice but to meet you there. Most people never realize this. They stay stuck in cycles. They repeat the same mistakes, make the same excuses, feel the same pain because they refuse to walk any of the 3 paths. They flirt with discipline. They dip their toes in commitment. But when pressure hits, they run back to what's familiar. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But you're not here for that. You're not here to play at the surface. You're here because you feel it. That pull inside you, that voice that says there's more. That voice that says this can't be all there is. That voice that doesn't want a mediocre life, that doesn't want to settle, that doesn't want to just exist, but to excel. And the moment you stop silencing that voice, the moment you give it room to speak, the moment you let it guide your actions, that's when your life starts to shift. Because that voice is truth. That voice is power. That voice is you, the real you. Not the one shaped by doubt, not the one shaped by failure, but the one shaped by possibility, the one that only wakes up when you step onto the path. So what happens when you commit? What happens when you choose mastery? You stop getting distracted. You stop wasting energy. You stop doubting your potential. Every time something doesn't go your way, you start moving with intention. You start building systems that support your success. You start developing emotional endurance. And eventually you stop trying to achieve and you just live it. You become it. Mastery is no longer a goal. It's a baseline. That's when you know you've arrived, not at the end, but at the beginning of everything. The beginning of influence, the beginning of deep fulfillment, the beginning of a legacy that can't be shaken. Because mastery is not about being perfect. It's not about knowing everything. It's about never leaving the path. It's about getting back up with more wisdom. It's about training your mind to perform even when your emotions want to quit. And when you do that, When you build that consistency, that power, that resilience, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of person others look at and say, how does that person keep going? How do they never quit? And the answer is simple. You chose a path and you never left it. You chose a path and you never left it. That's what separates those who just want success from those who become it. The ones who master life don't need external pressure. They don't need someone pushing them. They don't wait for motivation to strike because they've learned one of the most powerful truths. You become what you repeat, not what you say, not what you intend, what you repeat. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. Every moment of discipline is a vote. Every moment you don't quit is a vote. And if you cast enough of those votes, you build mastery from the inside out. And mastery doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't need to prove itself. It moves in silence. It sharpens in solitude. And then one day the world looks up and says, where did this person come from? But the answer is always the same. You didn't come from nowhere. You built this. You built this in the quiet, in the lonely hours, in the moments no one saw, no one clapped, no one understood. You built this because something inside you burned brighter than any doubt outside you. And that's the cost of greatness. That's the price of the path. Sacrificing distraction for direction. Trading convenience for consistency. Letting go of who you were so you can rise into who you're meant to be. The first path to mastery is the path of deep practice. This is where you choose to go all in on skill. You break things down, you slow it down, you repeat it over and over until your mind and body move in complete alignment. You're not just working hard, you're working smart, you're training with intention. You're obsessed with precision. This is the path where you master your craft, whether it's your body, your business, your art, your mindset. You devote yourself to the grind that most people avoid. And because of that, you rise. The second path is the path of identity shift. This is the psychological evolution. This is where you don't just do different, you become different. You rewire your beliefs. You dissolve old limitations. You build a new story, not based on the past, but based on the future you're creating. You stop saying things like, I'm trying, or I hope, or maybe. You speak from conviction. You say, I'm becoming. You say, I'm building. You say, this is who I am now. Because once your identity changes, your actions follow. And this shift, this is where transformation becomes permanent. And the third path is the path of service and impact. This is where mastery turns outward. You don't just grow for you. You grow to lead. You grow to serve. You grow to become a force that uplifts others. Because nothing will refine you like responsibility. Nothing will sharpen your standards like knowing that others are watching. And this isn't about ego. It's about example. You show others what's possible by becoming it. And in doing so, you double your strength. You become unbreakable, not just for you, but for those who need you strong. These are the only three paths to true mastery. Deep practice, identity shift, service, and impact. You can walk one, you can walk all three. But no matter which one you walk, it will demand the same things: discipline, consistency, and belief. And that belief, it won't always be loud. It won't always be easy. Some days it'll be hanging on by a thread. Some days it'll feel like you're walking alone. Some days you'll look around and wonder, why am I doing this when everyone else is coasting? But that's when you remind yourself the world rewards the few who are willing to go deep while everyone else stays shallow. That's the mindset that makes you unshakable, because now you're not chasing motivation. You're driven by mission. You're not looking for shortcuts. You are the long game. You're not desperate for success. You're aligned with it. And alignment is a different kind of power. It's not frantic. It's not chaotic. It's calm. It's focused. It's unstoppable. And here's what happens next. People start to notice, not because you're trying to impress them, not because you're begging for attention, but because mastery radiates. People feel it. They trust you. They listen to you. They want to follow you, not because of what you say, but because of who you've become. That's the real reward of the path, not just results, but reputation. Not the fake kind that comes from hype, but the real kind that comes from consistency. The kind that says, this person is serious. This person does not fold. This person is built for impact, but the world will test you. Life will throw things in your path. You will be misunderstood. You will be underestimated. You will feel tired. But the person who walks the path of mastery doesn't crumble. They adapt. They adjust. They keep showing up, because it's not about feeling good. It's about doing what needs to be done. That's what makes you great. That's what builds your legacy. So if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. If you're sick of being stuck, stop dabbling. If you're ready to become who you were meant to be, then pick your path and walk it. Not tomorrow. Now, pick your path and walk it. Not tomorrow. Now. Because mastery doesn't wait. It doesn't pause for your doubts. It doesn't care about your excuses. It only responds to commitment. And when you commit, when you draw a line in the sand and say, this is who I am now, you activate a part of yourself most people never meet. You awaken the part that's tired of average, the part that's starved for challenge, The part that doesn't want easy, it wants meaning. That part of you has been silent for too long, and the only way to bring it to life is to move, to act, to train, to build, to keep showing up, especially when it's hard, especially when no one claps, especially when the world seems blind to your effort, because those are the moments that shape you, not the moments where everything goes right, not the wins, not the praise, but the lonely moments, the hard days, the quiet grind. That's where the real identity is forged. And the longer you walk the path, the more you realize mastery is not a destination. It's a decision you repeat every day. It's waking up and choosing to do the hard thing, to study longer, to train harder, to refine your process, to evolve your identity, to live on a level most people only talk about. And eventually you change, not just in skill, not just in success. You change in presence. You change in confidence. You change in the way you walk into a room because you know you've earned the right to be there. You know you've paid your dues in silence. You've kept your promises to yourself, and that self-respect, that becomes your weapon, your armor, your edge. People think confidence comes from talent, but real confidence comes from consistency. It comes from doing what you said you'd do, from proving to yourself over and over that you can rely on you. And when you develop that kind of trust with yourself, you stop fearing the opinions of others. You stop second guessing. You stop shrinking because you're no longer trying to be something. You are it. That's why the path matters, because without a path, you drift, you doubt, you hesitate. But with a path, with a clear direction and a deep reason, your energy changes, your voice changes, your eyes change. You no longer chase everything. You move with precision. You know what to say no to. You stop wasting time. You cut dead weight. You protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Your focus is your future. And when you guard it like a master, you create results like one. But this doesn't come overnight. It takes time. It takes failure. It takes humility. It takes discipline. But that's the beauty of the path. It gives you everything you need to grow. The struggle isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you. It's there to test how bad you really want it. It's there to expose the weak parts of you, not so you break, but so you rebuild stronger. And every time you get up, every time you press forward, every time you ignore the noise and focus on the work, you're becoming more than someone who wants success. You're becoming someone who embodies it, someone who earns it, someone who lives it. And eventually, the results come, the success comes, the mastery shines through. People start calling you lucky. They say you were gifted. They say it came easy, but you'll know the truth. You'll know the nights you doubted yourself, but kept going anyway. You'll know the days you didn't feel like it, but showed up anyway. You'll know the sacrifices you made when no one else was watching. And that's what makes the victory feel earned, because you didn't chase it, you became it. You became the kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure. You became the kind of person who performs with clarity. You became the kind of person who inspires others, not with speeches, but with standards. And when your standards rise, your life rises. That's the real power of the path. It upgrades everything. Your mind, your emotions, your environment. You stop tolerating chaos. You stop accepting excuses. You stop entertaining things that don't align with your future. Because you know where you're going. You know who you're becoming. And that kind of direction, that kind of inner alignment, that's rare. That's priceless. That's powerful. So don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until the world understands. Don't wait for perfect timing, because there's no such thing. There is only now. There is only the choice you make today. And if that choice is mastery, then nothing can stop you. Not failure, not doubt, because those things only win when you forget who you are. But once you walk the path, once you commit to mastery, you don't forget. You remember your purpose. You remember your strength. You remember why you started. And when you remember that there is no limit to what you can build,